We are live. How are you girls doing? How are you guys? I know
Hello.
you're a bit. I bet you're feeling all kinds of feelings right now.
All in the fields.
And you, Amanda, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing
Good,
good.
good. With the kiddos, you got all your kiddos at home?
Everyone's at home. Stop, got pizza. So I'm ready to roll.
Farm to table.
This. What'd you say?
Farm to table.
Mm-hmm.
Farm to table.
This mom is not cooking tonight, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh. So we're still waiting on Kina, but maybe she'll hop in maybe a little bit later. So perhaps we can start maybe without her. And then when she hops in, she can go ahead and just talk a little bit about herself. But guys, thank you for joining our live. We are ATX Homegirls. I know. So just a little bit about us. We're a diverse group of local realtors bringing you valuable content about all things real estate. We do a live stream every other Wednesday at 7 p.m. And we typically like to talk about what's currently going on in the market. And in today's series, we are talking about market shift, leaving sellers stunned. So our primary focus is going to be more on the seller side, like what's happening with the sellers, what's going on, the mentality there, and what buyers are doing so sellers can prepare themselves and position themselves in it better to be able to sell their home. So real quick, an introduction. Amanda, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, I'm Amanda Alvarez. I'm an Austinite. I'm in property management and also a realtor, both full-time. I have 4 kids. I'm married and I'm really busy. And just trying to keep up with the market, probably like everybody else.
Yes, everybody's wondering what's going to happen, right? So we're all trying to find out what's going to happen. Our eyes are glued to the screen, to our computers, to our phones. Pretty much tracking everything, all the movement of what's happening in the market.
Yes.
Thank you, Amanda. And Melissa, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Melissa Hudson. I'm also an Austin native, Austinite, whatever you want to say. Austin native, Austinite. Southeast Austin girl, born and raised from Antopolis, 78741, Liza.
All right.
I've been a realtor for about 10 years and I'm pretty, I wouldn't say shocked, but I was pretty surprised how things have shifted. I've been a realtor long enough to see that interest rates used to be much higher than they are now. So it's interesting to see the shift. And I'm excited to talk about this topic because it's been a pretty hot topic here recently in the news and amongst all the realtors in the area. So anyway, I've got 2 kids and my son made me a grandma. So I'm a grandma and I have.
Oh, that's cute. Is that a word? A grandma?
Did you say grandma?
I'm a grandma. I have 3 dogs and a cat and a crazy husband who's also a realtor. And he's in the back of the house because he hurt his back. And I came back from Florida just how many minutes ago, Liza?
Like
10 minutes ago.
20 minutes ago. That's crazy.
From the plane to the laptop. I'm here. I'm excited. Thank you for coming and joining us today, folks.
Yes. Thank you, guys. And Kina, hopefully, will be joining.
She's going to be getting on
in a minute. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. And maybe by the time I'm done, she'll hop in just in time to introduce herself as well. Guys, I'm Liza Brazel, also a native Austinite. Also grew up and raised in the Montopolis area and have been licensed for about a decade now. So yeah, I'm excited about this topic because Melissa, when you and I got into real estate around the same time, it was pretty much a seller's market back then. And that's all we've experienced, a seller's market. So this is definitely interesting to see that shift happening. So I'm excited about this topic. And I don't know if you guys want to give Kina a minute or...
She can introduce herself when she hops in, maybe.
When she hops in. All right.
Yeah.
Then
What's your background, Amanda? Are you in downtown Austin?
I am, girl. I'm in a high rise on 5th Street.
Oh my goodness, guys, you guys are crazy. So just to preface it a little bit. So last year, buyers were scrambling back in 2021. and just to win a dang offer. It wasn't even finding a home. It's more, the story was winning an offer, right? Trying to win or get a home. So it was a combination of low inventory, low interest rates, companies moving here, the pandemic switch, had that shift. We had that mentality shift of working from home, and those individuals having the ability to just move to a more desirable area so they can work from home. So we had a variety of things going on since 2020, and then 2021 we saw the spike, the inflation happen, the crazy offers. So now, and I'm
also in 2021,
Hmm.
our interest rates went down in an extreme way. So I think it's a combination of all those things you're talking about.
All the things.
Plus the interest rates going really, really low. It just made for a perfect storm, if you will, that is, to me, unrealistic and it's not sustainable. So I think this evening out is what I'm calling it.
Right.
Needed. It's needed.
Balancing, yeah, definitely balancing it out. And I think we're all seeing, because as realtors, we're out in the field quite often. So we are seeing firsthand what's happening. We're seeing that narrative change into the second quarter of this year. So now buyers are, how do I put it? It's been tough, right? Because of the increasing interest rates. But they're also finding that they're able to negotiate on homes that are available on the market. Melissa, I don't know if you have your system up on what's going on. I think were you going to recap on Manor and Austin as far as inventory price decreases? Go ahead, and if you want to take that over.
Liza's got the numbers for the expansion of the counties surrounding Austin. This is just for the metro area and what inventory looks like for us. This is something we call a market watch. Hi, Keena.
Hey.
Yay. She made it. Tell us who you are. Tell us about yourself.
Me? My turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, sorry, it's been a crazy day, but I made
it.
That's all that matters.
Tell us about yourself.
Okay, so my name's Keena. I am originally from Austin, and I graduated from Texas State and then came right back to Austin. Got one daughter, one dog that lives with me, and what else? Oh, obviously within real estate, I do residential real estate, mostly in like North Austin area. So that's me.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. I love that we're all together, but I know you missed a bit about what we're just about to discuss. What we're doing right now, we're going to jump into the Austin and Manor markets that Melissa's going to go over. And then after her, I'll talk in general about surrounding counties so people can understand what's going on. Go ahead, Melissa.
So one of the most interesting things that I find with these recent market watch is that it's so interesting to see our active, and this is a 7-day watch, guys, for the metro area, compared to the reduced homes, right? So active homes on the market right now, 536 homes, reduced prices, meaning they made a price adjustment. They went lower than what they originally had, 511. So it's almost the same, right? Mm-hmm. And there's points in the week where we'll have more reduced homes than active homes. Just crazy to me.
Right.
When you see BOM, when realtors talk about BOM, that means back on market. So essentially, this is a home that was already under contract. Something happened. We don't know what. It could be various things. And BOM, we have 70 right now in the metro area. 120 homes are pending. And sadly, 52 homes have been withdrawn. That could be for various reasons as well. And Liza and I were talking, I don't know if it was you and I that were talking about this, homes that are on hold, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was you or not, but hold status basically means they're temporarily pulling that home off the market. I see agents doing this sometimes when they need to make some adjustments to the home, maybe fresh photos, some staging, maybe there was something wrong with the house. Maybe the seller's just like, hey, look, I need a break. I need to really think about this. And 5 expireds. Okay. That's in the metro area only. In Manor market, we are looking at, this is a smaller market. It's a smaller city that I live in. So we have our active listings, and this is over 7 days, 25. Our price decrease, 34. So we have more home price decreases than active right now. we have 2 price increases. That's really interesting, right?
But it's a small percentage.
Small percentage. 7 homes went under contract and pending, okay? And 3 of them were on hold. So we think about these numbers, guys, and I think overall what we're seeing is, and what we're talking about in the beginning of the live here, is some sort of balancing of the market, and these numbers, because of what we've been used to the last year and a half, are a bit shocking for some sellers right now. So Liza, tell us about the region.
Yeah, so what the stats I'm going to go over right now, it's 30 miles from Central Austin. And the reason I'm doing that is because, generally speaking, and as you guys are aware, buyers don't only look in Austin, right? Some of them will consider Pflugerville, Round Rock, Georgetown, Cedar Park, Leander, Buda, Kyle, Manor, Dripping Springs. So I did go out 30 miles. That's relatively normal for what buyers are looking. And then there are other buyers that do look a bit further out. But for the purpose of this live, I am going to keep it just 30 miles. Just so you guys can see that it's relatively the same in comparison, right? With the Austin market, the Manor market. So overall, we have, in 7 days, right? This is over the 7 days of what's happened. We've had over 1,200 new active listings. Within the 7 days, we've also seen over 1,300 price decreases. In a very, very small percentage of that, we have 131 homes that have a price increase. Also, for homes that went back on the market, and as Melissa had explained, back on market, or BOM, homes that were previously under contract, they were terminated, and now they're back on the market, active again. We see 192 of those back on the market. Pending. Now, it's weird because in our systems, we do have 2 pending statuses. We have one that we label as active under contract, which essentially means it's pending. And then we have the official pending status. So out of those 2, we're showing here over 800 homes that are currently pending. So in essence, we're seeing more inventory. I mean, moral of the story, why we're discussing this, is that we're seeing more inventory, more price decreases, and less homes that have gone pending, and less homes that have closed. We see a small percentage of that have had a price increase. So in general, I mean, this is, in Kina and Amanda, y'all feel free to hop in. What are you guys, I wanted to discuss a little bit about, what are your buyers doing, right? And what are your sellers? What are they doing? Just so sellers can understand what's happening, what buyer terms they're bringing to the table. And also so buyers can also understand that sellers may be willing to negotiate. So go ahead, and if you have anything to say, go ahead and jump right in.
Yeah, I'll jump in and say that at least for me, like, the buyer pool has shrunk. Like, there's less people that are at least looking right now, and like that I'm working with at least. So, and the people that I am working with, they want sellers to be more flexible. They've seen how the market has shifted, and they saw how things were the past couple of years. And they feel like, well, this is kind of our turn almost to have like a little bit more skin in the game. And these sellers are not going to just push us over anymore.
Right.
So definitely being able to like write some more aggressive terms for the buyer rather than for the seller. Even like another lady on my team was submitting an offer that was like 95,000 under list price, and that was being considered. Like that's the drastic shift that we're kind of seeing. So it's definitely interesting. But like I said, buyers are really just looking for those terms to be not even just fully like favorable to the buyer, but just a little bit more fair.
Right.
So I guess that's kind of what I've seen, is just more of a balance, as we see like the absorption rate of the inventory has just drastically slowed. There's so much more for them to look at.
Exactly.
And I feel like with my buyers too, we've been able to kind of go back and relook at the home and kind of, compare the homes that we've already originally looked at, been able to go back, kind of more or less be closer with the listing agent, answering phones, just kind of being more helpful as far as, winning the offer and stuff like that. So
yeah, and listing descriptions are back too, which is nice.
Oh, what was that?
I said listing descriptions are back. I
Oh,
saw
I know, right?
that were just non-existent during the pandemic timeframes, and I was like, oh, look at these paragraphs now. That's cute.
They were like
Yeah.
1 or 2 words and it'll sell.
Right.
Now it's like a long paragraph of one
Yeah.
Victoria and all this lovely description of the house. It's funny.
I love it.
From a seller's, since I work with a lot of sellers, and things that just, I would say the education and the pricing is just so key because, you know, I would just say me going in a listing presentation in January, February, March, April, May, beginning of May, things are like pretty straightforward. Look, I know I can get you multiple offers. I can get you lots of showings because we knew that the buyers were coming like quick. You hit the market on a Thursday, you had showings Friday, Saturday, probably an offer by the afternoon.
Right.
Mother's Day weekend happened, and then the week after that, we all know what happened. The interest rates went up. So it's the same thing, right? It's like, okay, now fast forward to today, it's still the same things we talk about, even on these lives about price, location, condition, and price. But even more so, I think the conversation that I'm having with the sellers is that I'm having this conversation with you today about this price and what's happening, but next week it can actually change. And that's going to be based on your showings and your interests. And if you're at a fair market value and you're still not getting showings, it's not your fault. It's happening to all sellers.
Right.
Your home may be the home may be perfectly fine, but they're not only looking at your house that's perfectly fine, they're looking at 50 other houses that are perfectly fine online. And then they're deciding of those 50 homes, let's kind of narrow it down to these 10. And then, okay, I've got these 10 homes, so I'm only going to go view 4 of them. And yours may not be one of the 4. So the presentation has to be on point. And when I mean by presentation, it means like everything that is inconvenient for a seller when they live in a home, which is staging, right? It means your furniture has to go unless your house is stage ready, which not a lot of sellers have it. I would say like out of 10 sellers, I probably have 1 that has a home where I don't need to do a thing. And, you know, being available for showings, being gone on the weekends for open houses, having all the lights on, running up that bill, you know what I mean? Like having the house cooler because it's 105 degrees outside and nobody wants to walk in a house. It's the comfortable temperature for you. You know what I mean? So it's how inconvenienced do you want to be? But you ask your seller, like, how bad do you want to sell your house?
Exactly.
Right. And that's the conversations that we're having now. And maybe going back to the drawing board with clients that I know that are going to be on the market soon, that I may have talked to them a long time ago and saying, okay, remember that price we talked about? It's different now. Now it's every week that you wait, that price may actually go lower, unfortunately. So
yeah, definitely. Here's something interesting that I've also noticed because I do work with several buyers. I've noticed a lot of my buyers, before committing to submitting an offer, they want me to ask, will the seller consider these terms, right? And normally a lot of the terms verbally have been lower than asking price. And even and what's crazy is that, you know, earlier this year, we would have been like, no, you got to come in strong if you want to have a chance to win the offer. And we're having these awkward conversations with the listing agents. And I do preface it by saying, look, I don't want to make this awkward between you and your seller, but I'm relaying what my buyer wanted to ask about these terms. And surprisingly enough, instead of the listing agents getting upset, they're saying, you know what? Let me get with my client. They may counter or they may take that. And even if they do, my buyers are still waiting on it. It's something right away. They are, oh, okay, thank you. Well, that's great that they would be willing to work with me. And I'm like, okay, so do you want to write an offer? Or like, no, I'm going to think about it for a bit. And I'm like, yes. Okay. But I mean, you see how that's changed so much. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, you're actually getting something that is now favorable to you, terms that were less than asking price. I mean, all the terms would be significantly different than it would have been earlier this quarter or last year. And now they want to sit on it and think about it. Or even when there are homes, and this is not to say that all homes are sitting on the market and they're not selling, because some homes do get multiple offers, and some of them do get over asking price, right?
Mhm.
But for the most part, even when I tell another client that I had last week, I said the home sat on the market, and this is not a long time, but given the comparison from last year and earlier this year, the home was on the market for about 15 days, right? And then finally it had a few offers on that property, right? They did a price reduction, then they had a few offers. And I told my client, hey, there's a few offers. Do you want to go ahead and submit your, what would be favorable to you? She's like, nah, I don't want to compete, right? So that's what I'm seeing, the buyer's attitude towards this market. And luckily for that particular seller, they ended up going under contract. But for buyers in general, like we're seeing, as we just discussed in Austin, Manor, and just the greater part 30 miles out, we're seeing so much inventory. And as you guys mentioned, buyers have more options. And nothing against sellers, but rightfully so, given the high interest rates. They want to be able to see if there's some negotiation room for them to be able to lock in the interest rate, get in a good deal, and buy the home, essentially.
I wish we could go back to, and I know we have a live where we were talking about inventory and how crazy it was.
Yes.
Because the inventory that I'm looking at, and these are like,
they're crazy.
They're kind of crazy, guys, because last time we were talking about any home under a certain price, it was impossible. So this is Austin, Manor, Elgin, Kyle, Buda, Georgetown, Cedar Park, Leander, Manchaca, Pflugerville, Round Rock, Hutto, Cedar Creek, Del Valley. We have under 425, almost 400 homes, and 220 of them are under 400. So y'all understand,
that's crazy.
It's like how much months of inventory, Liza, were we talking about? Like the inventory that would mirror maybe 2014, 2015?
I would think, yeah. And speaking about inventory, Melissa, did you guys want to hop into what Chris Jacob posted on that forum?
Hopefully we'll have Chris on this live one day.
Yeah, hopefully we can get him on here.
Maybe we can explain to the audience who he is.
So Chris Jacob is also a realtor. He's very, very data analytical, heavy on that, right? He loves numbers. He loves all this data. He's an Excel sheet guy, and he computes all this information. And we often discuss as realtors, we always do, what's going on, what are you seeing? But in one of his posts, he did put on here, and I believe this was from yesterday, which is today's the 22nd, so yesterday, still relatively new. Just to give you an idea, let's look at resale homes, right? Months of inventory for resale homes. We're looking at an average of 2 months, right? In comparison to last year, we were at 2 weeks, 2 to 2.5 weeks. So that's roughly about, and his data, I mean, he has several points from Travis Williamson and Hayes County, but overall, that's a 213% change. Now we look at new builds. New builds have almost 4 months of inventory, which is, I think that's insane. And speaking about, and y'all remember how crazy it was with new builds, right?
I remember there was a lady with a tent in her chair waiting in line. She made the news.
Yeah.
You remember that?
No, yeah. I don't remember that. I don't remember the lady waiting outside, but I mean, I believe it. It was insane last year. I remember buyers were signing up for several builders just to get a chance to get a home that probably they wouldn't like, but they wanted something. And on top
Can you imagine their frustration right now?
I know.
Can you imagine the deals that the builders are giving new buyers, and you've waited in line, and it's because of the supply issue with the low supply. And we're talking about building materials, guys. We're talking about anything from sheetrock to lumber to anything that has to do with the house mechanics. Can you just imagine being the buyer that stood in line, waited your turn, overbid, and all you have is foundation and a frame? This guy's walking into the office when you're doing your walkthrough for your pre-drywall, and he's getting all kinds of stuff from the builder because they need the buyers. So now they're giving you everything.
I know.
Everything you can think of. I mean, and I'm going to tell you right now, these buyers that are waiting for their home to be built for 9+ months, you're talking about almost a year.
Yep.
You're not going to give them crap. And I'm about to cuss right now, but
Yeah.
we're live, and you know what I'm saying.
Exactly. They're not. And
they're not giving them corn.
Y'all remember when the contracts, I'm not going to name any builders, but y'all remember when the contracts were getting canceled just so you can sell it for more? This is crazy. And now I'm just shocked.
Raise your hand if you're getting emails from the builders. The new construction builders.
So many.
They need to go in their office and bring your buyers and what they're willing to give.
So many. All of their incentives and everything.
Tell us about those incentives, Sakina. What are you seeing?
I saw one, I think just a couple of days ago, where they were like $15,000 in closing costs towards the buyer. I was like, that's insane.
I'm trying to find. I even got a text message from a builder the other day,
and that's rare, by the way.
And
so I'm getting calls, emails. Yeah.
I'm not going to say the builder's name, but it said, "I want to let you know the pricing now starts in the upper 300s. We are out in."
I know who you're talking about.
Yep.
I know what you're talking about.
Keep reading it. Keep reading it.
Even said we've got approval for an HEB.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
I think I do too now.
That caught me. I died. I was like, oh my God.
Not the HEB.
I know, right? Yeah, let me see if I can find this other email. Here's this other email from another builder. 4.875 interest rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage. And it says limited time only, right? Because they're trying to get buyers to buy these inventory homes.
Yeah.
Right.
But quick move-in homes, they're trying to offer these incentives. I'm trying to read here what other... It says bottom line pricing plus a 4.875 30-year fixed mortgage. So they're trying to switch up the game now, right? Because they know that the interest rate, what are the interest rates now? Let me see if I have it pulled up here. Between 5.5 to 6%. Do I have that right?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Okay. So in comparison, right, these builders are like, okay, what can we do to get some buyers in to buy these inventory homes? Provide a lock, right? An interest rate lock, because there was no guarantee at the time, right? The builders, their build time frame, it could be for an inventory home, it could have been 3 months, 9 months, a year and a half out. There was no guarantee. A lot of buyers had to back out because they couldn't afford the mortgage anymore. So they saw a lot of that happening. And now you're seeing these interest rate incentives. You're seeing closing cost incentives. And some other builders have provided upgrades, right? And they weren't tiny upgrade incentives. They were, I think you guys saw this. They were like $80,000 in upgrades free. I mean, $100,000 in upgrades. I'm just thinking that's crazy. So I had done a video a few days ago.
She says she can't wait for the HEB.
Who says that? Okay, Miss Lopez. So she knows what builder we're talking about.
Also, I got a text message. I won't name the agent. I'm not going to out her, but she messaged me in a group a couple of days ago, and she says, "Hey, you guys got to come with us to this builder because they're inviting the realtors." So remember those, Liza?
Oh, yes.
Back in the
I'm
day,
taking full advantage of those.
Yeah.
Oh, she's like, and they're going to give away money to the realtors.
Yes.
Cool prizes, but she said good cool prizes, like expensive. So I see like maybe TVs or like laptops. That's what I see, because back in the day they were pretty decent, right? You could leave with $250, just by going to visit them, because they wanted to show you their product so you can sell that product to your buyers. So we're seeing that again. And I don't know, something tells me we may start to see those broker tours again, where they pick you up in a little van and they drive you around.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Right?
Yeah, all of that stopped. The whole narrative changed, where we're like, dang, nobody returned our calls, our emails. I remember calling, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I'm like, are you that busy? You can't email me back, like after months, you can't email me back. And then the response would be so lame. It was, sorry, you're just going to have to wait until something opens up. And I'm like, and it took you months to tell me that? Wow.
Right.
Thank you. And now it's switched, right? Because we work hard for our buyers, we work hard for our sellers. And yeah, I see that they're now calling us back, wanting our business, but really it's what the buyers want, right? The buyers have that choice, they have that power because they know they're a lot more savvy. There's a lot more information out online. So they know what's going on.
Can we talk about that though, Liza? Because
yeah,
I feel like buyers, and just for the audience here, do not be disenchanted with these, what they say, looming increasing interest rates. Let me tell you something. When I first started in real estate, I was putting buyers in their first homes at 6.50, 6.75, and some as high as 7.25%. Those buyers refinanced their homes when we had the ridiculous interest rates for refi, which were like 3.25%, which I don't know if we'll ever see them, under 3% again in the nearest future. But just know that there will come a time when you can refi your home. So don't be disenchanted. Don't lose steam. If you're a good candidate for a home, don't be afraid of that interest rate. Get in a home, get in it now, so you can still build that equity.
right.
And by the way, all these things that we're talking about right now, it's real life. It's happening. You've got tons of inventory to choose from for resale home. And you have builders that are just like, come. And we can help vet you, or your realtor can help vet you through those new construction companies to see what best suits you. So don't be afraid. I just want to get that out there.
Exactly.
I mean, builders are even giving a half off of structural and decor options.
Yeah.
Half off.
Like that never happened.
Crazy.
3%. And then you can even finance through them at like 3%.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
And that's for sellers, right? Kind of switching it over for sellers. Sellers are competing as well. I mean, we have less resale inventory and more new build inventory, but just so sellers understand, they are essentially competing with these new builds, right? As that inventory starts getting closer to being already built or finished or completed, they will be competing with those newer homes, right? And sometimes it's a little bit iffy, but there's reasons why buyers would prefer a new build over a resale and vice versa, right? But sellers need to understand, depending on how fast they need to sell or what's the reason for selling, they do need to price accordingly. And I have seen some sellers price accordingly, but it's still not moving. I don't know if you guys have noticed that the house is not moving as fast as they want it to. So maybe if we do like a mental shift, being on the market for 2 weeks doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing.
No,
it's happening. Like you mentioned earlier, it's happening all over, at least here in the Austin market.
If you're a seller, have an expectation for your house. Let's just go in and you say mind shift. If you're a seller and your house is sitting on the market, if you're a seller, you're about to be on the market, go ahead and have an expectation that your home may be on the market, active, priced right, looks great, smells great, ready to go for 14 plus days.
Right.
14 plus days. That's it. And also wanting to leave like little nuggets, right? I always want to, kind of leave like a positive, something for the viewer to feel like, God, it's not doom and gloom. So if you're a seller, these are the things that I would ask you to do. If you're thinking about selling, or if you are on the market and you haven't done these things, this is what my suggestion would be to you, and my little nugget that I would leave. We talked about it in the beginning, having your home be open. Please be open to the shift, and your professional realtor telling you or advising you rather on what's changing in the market, and be open to the adjustment in price. Be prepared to have the home show ready at all times. Right. And I know it's inconvenient. I'm sorry. And, have that mindset that we just talked about the flexibility of knowing that your house is going to be on the market longer. And what else?
Incentives. I see certain sellers, not all sellers, but I do see some sellers just to get buyers into their door, providing incentives such as, hey, we'll provide some sort of closing cost to help buy down your interest rate. Also, I think we'll probably start seeing this more often, assumable loans for VA buyers. If you have a veteran, a seller, another veteran could assume that loan and lock in even lower interest rate. So we'll probably see that more often,
Mhm.
and that be disclosed so that buyer has that option if they wanted to take that option. So these are all great incentives, and you don't necessarily have to price reduce. If you just line everything right, price accordingly, right? If not really what your house can sell for, because you got to remember houses. I just ran comps for someone, and there was 2 comps that sold for way more, and then the other ones were about mid-range, and then we had 2, and then I saw, this is the crazy part, I saw 2 homes that were active that were probably $40,000 less than what the highest comp sold, and they were still on the market. So you have to be, really your competition is those active homes, right? To get buyers into the door. So you have to, I know it sucks, but if you price a bit lower than that active home that's comparable to your
It
home,
triggers.
right, exactly. The chances of getting more buyers through your door are a lot higher, despite your home, right? Despite your home being worth more because of the past comps.
Right.
So keep that in mind when you're looking at the data. You're analyzing, what is my home worth? What could it potentially sell for? Well, in this market, be prepared to make some adjustments just so you can get
all the things, right?
Exactly.
Having your home show ready, having your home show ready staged, price accordingly, be flexible to the price adjustment, being, having the home available to show, right?
Exactly.
Offering the incentives. So if you're a seller, offer those incentives. So Liza talked about paying some closing costs. I have a seller that's paying down a point, right?
There
for
you
the
go.
buy.
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely worth it.
And
Yeah.
that's it. With the full price offer, we'll pay a point. That's towards that person's interest rate. Assumable loan, what Liza's talking about, and she can elaborate more on it. But they're basically assuming your actual loan, right? So they're going to get your interest rate that you had, right? That is a huge incentive for a VA buyer, especially, right?
Exactly.
Because what if you are at 3.25%? And
or even less. I
or
mean,
less.
2.87 or 2.5. Who knows what those VA sellers that were buyers at that point in time when they bought that home, they could have locked in at an amazing interest rate.
Right.
And I think that alone in itself, that's a huge incentive. And you know what? Good thing for veterans, because I know they were having a tough time buying a house last year. It was
Definitely.
so tough for a VA loan to get accepted. I don't know, Melissa, if you came across that or not, but that was so hard to see that in
I've
heartbreak.
had the best VA loan buyers submit offers in my listings, and I'm just like, my heart breaks. My husband's a disabled vet. Like, just the thought that this well-qualified vet comes in and has to compete against cash buyer, conventional loan, paying well over ask, appraisal waiver, and this VA buyer comes in and they're like, what do I got? So good for you, VA buyers. Let's give a round of applause.
I know. For them to get a chance, I'm excited. I'm excited about that, because I know we'll start seeing that more often for sure.
And I just feel like VA, FHA, I felt like they kind of got booted out because, I feel like buyers were in competition, not with other buyers, but with investors. So I just, it's good to kind of see the shift.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, so last year for FHA loans, I did not do not one FHA loan last year, because people wouldn't take it. They wouldn't take it. And I think a big part of that was, for an FHA loan, you cannot do an addendum, an appraisal waiver addendum. You could have maybe an attorney draft up some sort of document that you would be willing to bridge the gap, but it was a few more steps for that end buyer. And at least on my end, a lot of my FHA buyers didn't have that gap to bridge it. We just ran our comps and offered accordingly to what we felt like it would appraise for. But yeah, it was tough. And now I'm doing more FHA loans now. But last year, I did not see that at all. I wasn't sure if you guys experienced that as well. But we're probably going to see more sellers open to working with VA buyers, FHA buyers, conventional cash, everything, right? I think they're going to be willing to see it all to open up their buyer pool, right?
Yes. And if you're a seller, I think right now, and I'm just going to say this, I think you just want any qualified buyer right now.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's like anything.
Qualified buyer, but don't
Yeah.
shy away and don't be afraid if an FHA or VA buyer comes your way, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. You know,
Exactly.
it's a good thing. Those are guaranteed loans, and they vet and they qualify an FHA and VA more so than they do conventional. I feel, you know, there's a little bit more red tape, but once they get that, they're solid buyers and they're very deserving of a home. So I think they just need a buyer at this point. Most sellers that are sitting there and hoping.
Exactly. I know, right? Hoping that someone will come in. I did want to ask you guys a question. So what we did discuss a little bit about the buyer sentiment in our last live, but what about the seller's sentiment? Do you think they're still in their mentality still in 2021?
I think some are.
I was gonna say, yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. I've had a couple sellers that
Spit it out.
Yeah, their mentality was there, and I was honest, right? And I said, look, market has changed. And I had one that didn't want to believe me. He was like, no, just leave it on the market and it will sell because it's worth it, right? And I said, right. But I said, it's changed quite drastically. And I had to eventually, I think with the timing and pricing it too high, it ended up hurting him more than helping him. I'm not always successful in selling these homes, and I'm going to be straight up honest because I don't think there's anybody out there that they sell 100% of the homes that they list. But that was one that recently he wanted to terminate. I mean, he said you did a great job, but it didn't sell. He was like, I now realize that I overpriced it, so I'm going to lease it out. He ended up leasing it instead of selling it, and he had terminated a few days ago because he priced really, really high. Really high. And I'm like, I don't think this is a good strategy. At the end of the day, I went ahead and went with him. And I said, you know what, we'll go ahead and try it out your way. But I do think that you're way overpriced. And I do believe that if we don't get any buyers in or I don't get any calls, we need to reduce this price. And he didn't do that. He was still in that 2021 mentality. But I think as people start seeing more of the news or social media or any live streams, right? They start educating themselves. They'll start realizing that they do need to price accordingly, or if not lower, to be competitive with all the inventory that's out there.
Hey, Keena, I have a question because I know you work with a lot of buyers. What is the reaction of your buyers when they see a home that's been sitting on the market a while?
They automatically want to offer way under list.
Yeah.
They're gonna come in and already say like, if it's listed at 450, we're coming in under that, period.
Yep.
And they definitely don't want to see seller favorable terms. So they're gonna want to see things like, the seller back to paying title policy, even asking for concessions. The last home that I just closed, we had concessions and a home warranty. So it's just things that had disappeared within the market that are just reappearing now. And the buyers are definitely getting more comfortable asking for things. And I think, Liza, you mentioned it earlier about just waiting. They're definitely dragging their feet a bit more and just taking their time because they have the ability to.
Right.
So a buyer that I had, they liked a house. They wanted to submit an offer. I drew it up that evening. Because, I'm still like in the mentality of like, we got to rush, we got to hurry up. They might have another offer coming in.
Right.
And I drew it up. I sent it out to them that night. And they're like, all right, well, we'll take a look at it. And then the next night, I'm like, hey, did you guys have a chance to review it? Like anything you want to change? Like what's up with it? And they're like, no, everything looks good. We're just thinking. We're discussing. We're still looking at other ones. And I was like, we're going to lose this house. And like, no. Not even. They signed it
on the market, right? Yeah.
On the market. I sent it in the next day after that. So it'd been 2 days, and it was totally fine.
Exactly.
Same here.
Amanda, tell us about yours that y'all had lost.
Which one?
Melvin.
Oh, okay. So yes. So we submitted an offer. I felt like it was a decent, strong offer. And we got rejected. And one night I was up late just on MLS, just looking around, and guess what popped up? A BOM.
Yep. Back on market, guys.
Back on market house. I called Melissa and I was like, girl, guess what? This house
It's all like 1 in the morning, girl.
Yeah, he was like, it was what, midnight, Melissa?
I knew it. I know Melissa. I know her.
Yes. She's like, oh my God, you better type up an offer. I'm like, well, I can't text my clients right now. They're gonna be like, what the hell's this girl's problem? So I immediately, typed up the offer. I sent it to them that morning. It was like 7:00 in the morning. I was like, hey, that house that you guys wanted so bad, it's back on the market. I've already typed up an offer. It's in your inbox. Just sign it. So we're now under contract. So
that's awesome. Yay! Yes. Was it favorable terms to them, or was it close?
I think it's fair, right?
Fair? It was fair. It's been fair. Yes.
Okay. So win-win situation. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, a win-win is a win-win. So
I think she realized she should have accepted the first time.
You're on my buyer's
contact you.
Yeah. But anyways, and like yesterday, I went to go look at, a home, and my clients were like, let's submit an offer. So I was like, okay. I looked at my phone. They're like, just go ahead and submit it. So I was like, okay. So I'm typing up an offer, and then I don't know, around 11:55, I guess they got cold feet, and they're like, can we go look at a little bit more houses? If that was meant to be, then we'll submit an offer, but we want to see these houses and just ensure that that's the one. I was like, okay, we'll go see some more. They're like, it'll be there. It'll be there. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Probably will.
You know what's funny about that you bring that up is that buyers, okay, we look at a lot of houses, but when a buyer is ready to buy or they're in their house hunting, they're looking at way more houses, right? They're like scrolling through, seeing. So by the time they send us a house that they're interested in or a few houses, they probably scrolled through 50 more that they're going to add. Not 50 more, but they're going to scrolling through 50 more and pick a few more to add onto it. And that's what's been going on. What I'm seeing lately with all these options available, buyers are just like, you know what? Let me hold off on this because they now sense that they have the time to do so. And at the same time, as agents, we have listing agents contacting us. Hey, I thought your buyer was interested. What's going on?
This morning.
I'm just saying, and I'm like, they are, but I haven't
on their feet a bit. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to quiz y'all. So of the cities that we talked about where I ran the numbers of homes under 425, Austin, Manor, Elgin, Kyle, Buda, Georgetown, Cedar Park, Leanna, Manchac, Pflugerville, Manchaca, Pflugerville, Round Rock, Hutto, Cedar Creek, Del Valley. What else am I missing, guys?
Lockhart.
Lockhart, yeah. Did you go?
Lockhart?
It's a good city.
Yeah.
Good one. How could I forget them? Bastrop. How could I forget Bastrop?
For single family homes, Melissa, are you pulling? Is that what you're pulling up?
Yeah. So okay. So then that changes the numbers a little bit because we were at right around 400 for homes. Okay. So now we're at 454.
Okay.
And of those 454, we have one moment. Because I have to go to page 2. So for under 425, we have 427 homes under 425. And don't look at the MLS, but I'm going to ask y'all right now, what do you think the lowest? And these are single family homes only, and they're 3 bedrooms, 3+ bedrooms. So what do you think? Do not look, but the quiz is, what do you think the lowest priced home is?
260.
Yeah, I was going to say 275. You have Lockhart in there, so I didn't know.
260.
Well, there's one that's lower. It's in a little bit of disrepair. So let me look at the other one that I had my eye on. And this one, I would consider this next one move-in ready.
So move-in ready home under
275
areas. Okay.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Melissa, what is a magic number?
Okay, wait. So let's start over. Let's get your. There's one house that I'm gonna go with that I know is for sure move-in ready right now.
Okay, I said 275.
$299.
Okay.
I said 275 as well.
Okay. There's one in Buda for $275. Winner, winner, winner.
When I see prices in the 200s, I'm like, I haven't
This
seen
is
those
a
prices
decent
in a long
house.
time.
It's like 100. It's like 150.
This is 275 Buda, Texas, and it is a little under 1,200 square feet. And the home is a 1987 home, but it's cute. It's move-in ready. I mean, it's fine. There's something wrong with it, you know?
I just send that to one of my old clients that was looking in Buda but couldn't get in.
There you go.
So thank you for that. I will be looking for that right now.
Even in the, do y'all remember when in the 300s under 350, how tough that was to find?
Oh, that was like one house out of 100.
Yes. I'm like, I remember my client was just in disbelief last year. She was like, you're telling me I cannot find any homes under 250. And I'm like, well, they existed, but I was like, they had like 20 offers. I'm like, and we couldn't compete at the time. They were like, we're moving to another state. Just did not want to compete with what was going on. And now it's crazy to think that you can actually find single family residences, within a reasonable drive from Austin, the Austin area, under 350 now, or like that one example, 275,
Yeah.
That's
There's actually one in Lockhart. It's 235. There actually is one in Lockhart but it's BOM, and it's actually not bad, guys.
I love Lockhart. Lockhart's cute.
It's actually not bad. So my bad to this agent with JPAR. Sorry, dude. This is a BOM.
Back on the market.
Yeah, girl. They were active on the 16th and off the market in 5 days and back a BOM. Girl.
So that's it. And thank you for bringing that up, Melissa, on that. So sellers, we're seeing, these back on market properties, but be prepared when you don't. This is the one thing that I don't want to get too excited about is when we get an offer, right? The seller agrees to work with that offer. Mm-hmm. I always tell, look, this is great. We have agreeable terms. You're agreeing to sell the property. They're agreeing to purchase it. We're under contract. And I said, but they can back out. There's always that chance that they're going to back out. And I just want sellers to know, don't get, how do I put it? Oh, this sucks, right? But it does suck, but it's normal. It used to happen a lot pre-pandemic when homes were on the market. Do y'all remember that? Couple months on the market? That was completely normal for a home to be on the market for a couple months.
Yes.
For the contract to fall through, and then you get
back on the market.
Or having a backup, being a backup buyer or having a backup contract. I didn't even see that earlier. I think it was earlier this year. Were you guys successful getting a backup contract accepted?
I was.
Okay. I wasn't. They didn't want to because they still wanted the opportunity to go back on the market for a higher price. And
what if the price was favorable though? Because I've had sellers say, let's do an unofficial backup. And I'd basically tell the backup offer, like, hey, look, you guys were so neck and neck on the terms. If you don't mind, can we just hold your offer active? We don't need exchange, earnest, and option money if you don't want, but you are first in line unofficially. Mm-hmm. Some would do like $1 of option money or something at title. And this is for someone who really wanted that house so bad, and they were just so bummed that they lost out on the offer. Hey, you never know.
You never know.
Crazier things have happened. That buyer goes bye-bye. You get a phone call, and you're automatically under contract.
I think even now, if you do have a few offers on your property that you're selling now in this market, I think it's a good idea.
Sorry, my daughter's singing in the shower.
It's okay. That's cute, though.
What's the song? Can we sing with her?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
Whose birthday? Is it her birthday?
her birthday's coming up, and that's all she's been talking about.
Well, there it is. She's excited about her birthday.
That's
excited.
Cute. I forgot where I left off, but yeah, I think Melissa and you guys can let me know, but I think it would be a good idea in this market if you do have a few offers, giving that offer that didn't win, giving them that chance to be a backup offer. I think that would be an exceptional idea because you just never know what's going to happen. You want to be able to have that security that if one of the contract doesn't work out, you immediately move up the backup offer into first position.
Yes.
And you have that security that at least someone else is going to purchase it. I mean, that backup offer can also back out, but hey, something is better than nothing. So it beats having to go back and wondering if you're going to get another buyer. Yeah.
So our topic was sellers are stunned. And I think one of the things, if, our audience, the audience has tuned in and you're a seller, what would you say if we could leave them with 4 things? It's like, be prepared to adjust your price if needed.
Exactly.
Do all the right things to have your home move-in ready, show ready to show, everything, all the things. Cleaned. We didn't talk about deferred maintenance, but if there's anything major, either address it or put it up front in the beginning. And right now, what buyers are expecting and seeing is they want incentives, and it's not going to be a totally seller-favored offer.
Exactly.
Be prepared to give concessions, get creative, having pay title policy, which was traditional for a long time.
Right.
What else, guys?
I think just because this is just maybe something that I like, but I think more than ever, it's important understanding the data that you're seeing as far as what has recently sold, what's currently under contract, what's currently active in the market, especially if you live in a specific neighborhood. I think it's important to see what is happening, what's going on, what has happened, so the seller can position themselves right at the front, pretty much. Understanding that data and having it explained to you, understanding what it means and why we're going with a particular strategy as far as pricing is concerned, that is so important for a seller to understand so they can move with that, right, with that particular price. On top of everything that Melissa said, I think more than ever, you definitely want to position yourself up front with all the pricing, the staging, everything that Melissa said. That way you get more buyers through the door, you get offers in, and you can hopefully close quickly. Otherwise, if you want to test the market, and unless you're not in a rush to sell, if you want to test the market, that might hurt you more than you know.
Because sometimes you end up selling for less than the suggested price that your professional realtor gave you, the price that they suggested. Look at Amanda's frozen. Oh, I thought you were frozen. Amanda, like this.
She's like, mm-mm.
I feel like it's like kind of off.
It is a little bit.
Right. It's like a little lag.
There's always a little bit of a lag.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, if you guys see a lag. But
because if we're talking like this, we're talking and then and they're looking afterwards.
Because I'm reading.
And also with what buyer terms, understanding what buyers are doing now, so you know what to potentially expect, right? What could potentially happen with an offer if you do receive an offer, what those terms would look like. And just like Melissa mentioned, we're going back to seller paying title, which would normally all the terms are negotiable, but that was traditional pre-pandemic or during the pandemic. And in 2021, that was like buyer was paying for the title, buyer was waiving appraisal, buyer was paying over asking price, buyer was providing free lease backs. Do y'all remember that? Maximum lease backs. They were doing crazy terms. And then now that's changing. Now we're seeing buyers on the contract terms, they're having the seller go back to paying title. They're even asking for incentives like Kina had mentioned earlier. They're doing price reductions, and they range from a little bit of a price reduction to drastic price reductions just to see if they have a chance to test it out, right? Because they're like, I have nothing to lose. I have these other options. So you know what? Let me go ahead and ask or submit an offer at this price and see if they'll take it. Because if they take it, then I'll buy it. If not, then I'll keep looking because I have other options. That's really the sentiment right now with buyers. So sellers, be prepared. Don't feel that, whoa, this is crazy. And you're not obligated to sell to that particular buyer. You can wait and see what other buyers may come. But understanding the data as it comes in week by week and modifying your price accordingly, that would be very, very important to do. Not just sitting on a particular price. If it's not moving, then you want to definitely modify that as time moves forward. So
also, Liza mentioned something in the live, if you're just tuning in, about what's coming around the corner. And one of the things that we see coming around the corner is new construction is heavily entering their inventory into the MLS. What that tells you as a seller is if you're a seller and you know you're about to sell, you're going to sell, you're getting ready to sell. Don't wait, hurry, hurry, hurry. Why? Because you're about to start to compete with new construction homes on a high volume level, right?
Yep.
That means when the further along those homes get to be ready, you are now going to be competing against new construction. So if you feel like I may be 2 to 3 weeks away, I could probably spread it out a month, 2 months into the fall. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
Exactly. So, and exactly what you said, Melissa. Understand your competition, understand the data, and then do everything else that you normally would need to do to sell a house. Pretty much. More than ever, that's very important to understand what's happening. That way you position yourself better. So thank you, Melissa, for that.
Yeah, we spent, 2 years telling our buyers to be flexible and keep an open mind. And now they still have to, but the sellers have to as well now.
Exactly. Yeah, because and you're right, because it's not for all homes. I did experience last week for a home in Buda. They actually ended up having, like I mentioned earlier, they did have multiple offers. And there was only one cash offer. And that one, the agent had told me, we're not going to work with that cash offer because we have higher offers that are financed and they're putting 20% down. And I'm like, well, whoa, that's great. Now I'm not saying it's unheard of, but it was more common to see homes on the market longer with no offers and winning at favorable terms. But there are some that do have multiple offers, and they were priced at a really good price.
What was the price for that one?
I want to say it was at $425 in Buda.
Is it the one on Red Morganite?
That street name does not sound familiar.
Oh.
It was like last week. And I don't even remember the address. But yeah, I'll pull it up and I'll message you to let you know what home that was. It was just crazy. I was like, wow, multiple offers. All right. Well, good for you, ma'am. I was like, well, lucky seller, right?
Yeah.
Was it a 2-story?
No, it was a 1-story.
Melissa.
Look at Melissa's face.
Information after the call.
Everybody's gonna want to know. No.
What's the age of the home?
I want to say it was a few years old. I don't even remember because we did see other homes, so I sometimes get the addresses mixed up. And it was last week when I had showed it. So, but you know what? My client wasn't even fazed by that. She was like, "Oh, I don't want to compete. I'm going to wait."
Was it on Shirley?
No, Shirley. You still.
She's determined.
She's determined. I have to go back to my emails.
Was it on Reliance?
No, I'm going back to my client's email. Let me see if I can find it here.
I'm dying to know who got multiple offers.
No, it wasn't even this one. Girl, it'll take me forever.
I think it was Melissa Hudson. On New Year's Drive.
Look, I'm looking at all 425s in Buda.
Okay, no. It was okay. I got it wrong. It was for 400 and Dark
Horse Lane.
Yes, that one.
Okay. Kudos to the realtor with Moreland Properties.
Yep.
Who got multiple offers on a house in Buda. This is a nice house. I mean, but it's not. It's a nice
So yeah, that's the one that my client decided to pass on. She was like,
Ooh, look at that yard.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It was nice.
Wow.
I'm like, nice home, but okay. I mean, because like I told you, we were, there's another community, several other communities by Lennar that she was considering as well. So she was like, well, I got these options too. So I was like, all right, well, just let me know when you're ready. And like I said, this was last week. So we're now into this week. I'm just saying that buyers are taking a lot longer now. It's not, let me get back to you the next day or in the next few days. No, it's about a week, sometimes longer. Sometimes it is a few days. So that's what's going on with buyers.
I mean, it's a kudos to that agent because.
But you see how long it was on the market, and then all of a sudden it had multiple offers. I was like, what?
That's
So
weird.
yeah.
They have 18 homes for sale in that subdivision. There's 18 homes for sale in that subdivision. And of the 18, only 8 of them are under 400. And they vary from 20 to 13 to 6 to 5 days on the market. So guys, just price your house right and be ready. Well, you know, Kina, you know my saying, if you stay ready, you ain't got to
get ready.
Get ready.
Exactly. Well, we will start wrapping it up, guys. Thank you for joining our live. And again, remember, we go live every other Wednesday at 7 p.m. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you for tuning in. We will see
everybody for tuning in.
Yes. Hey, guys, if y'all ever have a topic y'all want us to talk about, just message us. You have our handles. I don't know, Liza, took away our handles.
Social media handles, all of that. Message
Where are
us.
our handles? I don't see our handles.
No, I don't see them either. They were on there earlier.
Yeah, they were on there early. Oh, you know what? It's the comment. There it is. So here's our social media handles. Get in contact with us. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Also, if there's a guest that you want to see on here, like
There
if
you
you
go.
want a specific guest on here, let us know. I still want to try to get Chris Jacobs on because I think he could give us some pretty valuable information.
Definitely.
Or present it in a different way.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited about it. If Chris can join, man, that'll be a packed show with all kinds of information. If you guys love information and Excel sheets, he's definitely your guy for that. But other than that, guys, feel free to message us. But don't forget to like and subscribe. Every other Wednesday at 7 p.m., we do a live stream. I think we're done. We're going to wrap it up, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.